Bring forth the fire, for the time has come. What's up, Reefer Revolutionaries? It's 420 in California. This is Reefer Revolution Live.
But I think in terms of marijuana, and legalization, I think that should be a state issue, state by state.
Ooh, the states are
I
moving.
think it's up to the states, yeah. I'm a states person. I think it should be up to the states, absolutely.
Unleash the states.
And I know people that are very, very sick, and for whatever reason, the marijuana really helps them.
You might be one of them, and it could help.
Don't smoke marijuana.
Well, Reefer Revolutionaries, the good people of Michigan got to buy their, quote, recreational cannabis today, at least in Ann Arbor. More to come, though. And guess what? There were lines. Meanwhile, legal work. Oh, yes, nearly 100 cities are considering decriminalizing psychedelics. Oh, is cannabis really the gateway? As the FDA says CBD is not recognized as safe for food use and issues warning letters again. And, Donald Trump seems to be...
I'm all in. This is the time to go all in.
Well, I don't know if he's all in. Michigan is all in. First day of sales today, folks, December 1st.
Today we have the first day of recreational legal marijuana in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
This is history in the making. I never thought in my lifetime that we would see this being sold for recreation in a business standpoint. But I look at it as it being history. We're seeing the end of a prohibition here.
First day of legal weed sales. Long time coming, and we're grateful for it. I have 2 artificial knees, 2 artificial hips, a pin in my shoulder, but I take no opiates. And marijuana got me off of opiates, and I'm truly grateful for that.
$22 a gram.
36 years old, and I never thought this day would happen, but I'm so glad it did. I don't do nothing else, and I stay out of trouble. I don't want to be in trouble for marijuana ever again.
The people have spoken, and now the people will be smoking.
Nicely
That's where we're at.
Nicely done. Good job, Michigan. Hey, Donald.
The one thing I see, though, you watch Prohibition, you look at, with the alcohol, you look at cigarettes, you look at all. If you don't give it to them, it's going to come here illegally. Okay, they're going to make it. But instead of Reynolds or Juul or legitimate companies, good companies making something that's safe, they're going to be selling stuff in a street corner that could be horrible. That's the one problem I can't seem to forget. I mean, I've seen it. You just have to look. You have to look at the history of it. And now, instead of having a flavor that's at least safe, they're going to be having a flavor that's poison. That's a big problem.
Donald Trump, advocate against prohibition. The latest advocate against prohibition. What's up, Reefer Revolutionaries? I'm Dave Conan. This is indeed Reefer Revolution Live, the show where we spark up, talk about marijuana in the mainstream media, the politics of pot and cannabis care. And when I say we, of course, I mean my partner in all things life and cannabis, Coach Chela.
Hey, babe. Hey, everybody.
Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday to you and everybody out there. Thank you so much for joining us. We're stoked you're here.
Totally. Everybody, bunch of folks. Mr. Sativa jumping in from Massachusetts into the chat. Jerry McGinty, Debbie D, and of course, Ugly Adams joining as well. Mad Goat, Mike 88, CJ and Poe indeed. Emerald Cup 2019. We will be there. Will you?
We're excited.
Are you coming to Sonoma County for the Canafam reunion every year at the Emerald Cup? Will be year 2 for us. Dr. Barry coming out from Florida. Come on out. We'll talk a little bit about that. Jacob Downey in the chat. Small Tubes, of course, jumping in first in. Nice to see such punctuality, Small Tubes, every week. And your continued support as we appreciate all y'all's continued support here for Reefer Revolution Live.
We do.
Every Sunday at 4:20. Subscribe, get notifications, hit that thumbs up wherever you're watching. We have Over on D-Live, joining us, Love Vibes is back for another week.
Babe. Nice.
We are, of course, multi-streaming on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Periscope, D-Live, and Weed TV, the Cannabis Media Network.
You're amazing.
Wherever you're joining us, please do whatever you do there. Subscribe, hit a thumbs up, throw
you
a
amaze
lemon.
me.
Thanks for the lemon Love Vibes over there. And the cute little gift dancing over on D-Live. We may end up on D-Live finally, ultimately. Who knows, once the next YouTube purge starts to happen, which could happen at any day now. I think I forget the date, but it's getting there. But you know what? We don't want to think about that. We want to move forward. We will always have a spot to land somewhere. That's why we multi-stream. So wherever your CJ Apo, great podcast, hope all is well. All is well. We, of course,
nice.
We're very, thank you so much, CJ. We, of course, met Mr. Apo, who came out from Illinois. And last year, legality in Illinois was just a blip on the radar, CJ.
That's right.
It was one of your first questions, I think, to us in the show was, when do you think Illinois will have legal cannabis? Well, we've been on that journey together as we enjoy our... what are we smoking? What are we coughing on today, Chela? We are enjoying... What are we expanding our lungs on?
We are grateful for...
Oh, my gosh. Some amazing Old Pal. We have some amazing... not Blue Dream. What is it? It's
Double Dream.
Double Dream. Double Dream.
Double Dream. We have Old Pal. Old Pal is our sponsor.
Yay.
Our flower sponsor this week is Old Pal. We're super stoked to have them. They are providing us with some lovely flower. I am not coughing from their flour. I'm coughing from all the pie and stuffing and bread and wheat that I enjoyed over the weekend.
The holiday,
as I hope you all did
meals
too.
are stacking up, indeed.
So as you guys know, we have had Old Pal in the past. We have enjoyed the Old Pal shareable half ounce that comes all ready to roll, which we love because, as you know, we use joints through the show. So it's always nice to have ready to roll stuff. So we are familiar with the Old Pal ready to roll stuff, which we love. And now we have tried, thanks to Old Pal, their flour, which is exciting. The double, and it's very tasty and fresh. Double Dream. It stays really fresh in this pouch that I was not able to open. I had to use a scissor to get it open, and I put it in another jar.
Longtime watchers of the show know that the compliant cannabis packaging, child-proof, is also apparently boomer-proof and Gen X-proof as well.
Yeah.
But
I'm not a boomer. Let's just be clear.
Into a little glass jar. But some nice, good-sized nugs of some really, really good-smelling, fresh, sun-grown water. Sun-grown, rain-kissed, sun-kissed, rain-touched. Accessible, affordable, and abundant.
It really is.
Old Pal. Old Pal's vision is simple. It's just weed, man. Neighbor-grown and meant to be shared. Our cannabis is all natural, sun-kissed, and rain-watered. That's what I was trying to say. Available in 3 simple varieties: indica, sativa, and hybrid. This is weed for the people. Old Pal's an ode to simpler times when weed was just weed and joints were passed around to old pals and new ones. When neighbors knew each other by name and community meant something. So grab a bag of Old Pal and pass it around. It's time we took care of each other.
Community still means something. Old Pal is totally taking care of us. So thank you, Old Pal.
New Pal. New pals and old pals also in the chat. We have new pals and old pals always joining us in the chat. So welcome Humble Canadian joining us. What are you showing?
I'm just lowering my headroom.
Oh, you're adjusting your... Telling your cameraman to...
I got it. I think. I don't know.
I don't know. You're cropping your head a little too
Maybe
much.
I need a haircut. Maybe that's what happened. Anyway. Hey, did everybody have a good holiday?
The talent messes with the camera.
Did everybody have a good holiday?
Oh, that's right. That's right. The holiday was...
There was a holiday. I hope you guys didn't eat too much. I ate way too much.
We had a lovely meal with family out in TO.
We did.
And
we talked about cannabis.
We did.
Which is cool. Yeah.
Didn't talk about politics much. It was a brief interview.
You know what?
There was music.
They
which is always nice.
talked about politics. Not us.
Well, it was brought up.
We did not bring it up. Somebody brought a political gift.
What are you doing? I was just about to adjust.
I'm pretty sure this is why people watch.
Pretty sure this is why people watch, because this is what drives me crazy about the show. So great.
And this is why you
Awesome.
hate it.
Exactly. I didn't want to say that. I meant it in other terms. Have you settled?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know.
It looks great.
Every time I see it, I want to change it.
Remember, you're 30 seconds late.
Right.
So, so give it there. So here, this is your job. We are enjoying that old pal. We have been smoking a little old pal
that's very funny.
while we were getting ready for the show, and also getting ready for the Emerald Cup coming up in just 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks. We will be headed to the Emerald Cup. We will there on Friday night.
I'm so excited about going to the Emerald Cup. I really, really am.
Where we will be meeting up with, we know for sure, Dr. Barry and anybody else who enjoys Reefer Revolution Live and is coming out to the show. We hope Jilly Love, we might be able to hook up there. So
Yeah, that'd
Friday
be
night is
cool.
going to be kind of our a social night. And then at the Cup, we are just going to cruise the Cup and talk to people, get the flavor of it. Of course, we have always focused on, well, at least last year, and our focus is mostly on medicinal as opposed to adult use.
It continues to. I somehow in my mind thought, oh, there's only a few things that I really, really have to get to. And I went back to look at my, they have a really cool planning tool on their website.
Oh, there's a planning tool now.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
You can plan your schedule, sign in and plan your schedule and favorite things. And
Well, that's great.
so
That's
it gives
great
you,
that's great for stoners, actually.
I love it. It's so fun because I get to like
I'm sure there's an
fixate.
app connected to it. And just,
Yeah, there's gotta
dude.
be.
Dude, that panel we gotta go to. It's,
I gotta get to my panel, man.
It's
The panel's about to start. Anyway, so it's totally awesome, except I have already favorited 15 things. I don't know how this happened.
There's not so many. There's not as many great panels. Oh my God! Look at all these panels. Oh, by the way, there's still Pulse.
Oh yeah, and also all the music.
Is gonna be there.
And Snoop Dogg.
And Snoop Dogg is gonna be there. We're so old. But
we're funny.
But Dr. Russo's going to be there. Beyonce.
I'm so
Chella's
excited,
Beyonce's
my
gonna be there
Beyonce.
again. We're going to get a redo. We're going to get a redo interview with Dr. Russo, maybe. Dr. Cicely was be there. Maybe we can get an update. Patreons can watch.
Dr. Bonnie's going to be there.
Our patrons can watch our interview with Dr. Cicely, the rough cut. It never really made
I'm
it.
super excited.
So we're super excited to get another update from Dr. Cicely.
Well, we
Martin
had
Lee's
camera
gonna be
issues
there.
last year, and this year I think they're fixed. So I think it's going to be a little, I think it'll be better.
We're going to go with the flow, and we're going to enjoy the show. That's what we're going to do. And we're going to go in. We're going to go live a lot.
We are.
So make sure you subscribe, get notifications. We're going to probably try to go live on all of the different channels.
I'm going to learn how to Instagram Live.
You're going to Instagram Live over at Reefer Rev Show. You can follow us on all of the socials at basically 2 different handles. The handles be on the Twitter, where I do most of my tweeting, at DC420LA. And you can also follow the Twitter of at Reefer Rev Show over there. But that happens mostly over on the Instagram, where you can follow at Reefer Rev Show, DC420LA. But Chella's going to do more Instagramming, and we'll Instagram from the Emerald Cup.
You do say that every week.
I do say that every week.
I hear you saying that every week. Chella's going to do more Instagramming. I Instagram like about once a week, I think.
I'm shooting the rockets.
I think I Instagram once a week.
I'll tell you what we do need to do is we do actually need to get this up to a podcast, a real podcast.
Yeah,
as
we
opposed
do.
to just on YouTube.
We do.
Because, I think we can get away with it, at least, most of the time.
I think so.
So, but we are super excited. So you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at those handles, at DC420LA. At Reefer Rev Show, And join us at the Emerald Cup, December 13th, 14th, and 15th. 14th and 15th is the Cup. The 13th, we will have some kind of an evening meetup somewhere in Santa Rosa, near where the Cup is being held, Sonoma County. We're pretty close to the Cup location, so we're going to meet with Dr. Barry and whoever else wants to meet up with us that's coming out to the biggest and greatest Canna family reunion, Emerald Cup 2019 in Sonoma County.
And it also happens to be in California and easy for us to get to.
We're up there all the time.
I would love to get to the ASA gathering in March, Advocacy Days in Washington, D.C., but I don't think that's in the cards for this March. I think we're going to Italy instead.
Family, familia is important, and we haven't seen your dad in a while, so I think it's totally reasonable. And we have been. We've been to Rome once in our lives.
Once, it's true.
Not long after we were married. It was right after 9/11, actually. I think
it was 2001.
So and your dad is, he's doing great, and we should see him while he's doing great.
Totally.
Yeah. Yes, Cannabis Sativa, Mr. Sativa, it's true. Using multiple socials is exhausting. I've been doing a lot of tweeting at the expense of IG, doing both his work, and you do put out multiple podcast. Your great podcast out to multiple spots as well as on YouTube podcasts. I'd love to get some insight as to good ones from you, where we should launch ours, and tips that you might give us for because your pods. If you haven't checked out Cannabis Sativa, please do. Amazing updates and education from originating from Massachusetts, but certainly not just covering Massachusetts, well beyond. So thank you for your supporting the show, and give a little love over to Cannabis Sativa and anybody else in the chat. We have many growers and other folks and doctors, big doctors all over that join the show every week that we love talking about the news, and that's really what we try to do every Sunday, is to keep the Canna fam up on the news of the day across the country, across the globe, mostly focusing on the United States in the legalization of cannabis, the descheduling, the very fast, it seems, a lot going on. Certainly last week was a huge, big news week. Almost seems like this week is a slow news week in cannabis comparatively. Although many things going on.
Well, it was Thanksgiving week.
It was Thanksgiving week.
Where apparently it's super Green Wednesday, right? That's like the big deal in the cannabis space.
Well, I haven't seen any official numbers for Wednesday, but last year's numbers were quite impressive. According to Marijuana Business Daily, they published a chart. It was not in the Chronicle, but I think there was a 159% increase in extracts. Okay, it went from 10 million normally on Wednesdays to 63% increase over average Wednesday.
Wow.
For Green Wednesday.
Because people got to make sure they have their green.
Second busiest.
Before they get their turkey on, huh?
Second busiest day of the cannabis space, 420 being busiest. But we'll report on the numbers next week probably as they come out. Where all the recreational states, of course, because the patients, I'm sure, are suffering today in Michigan. They were supposed to have 30-day supply put aside for the patients in Michigan, but we shall see. We shall see if the supply problems are already being talked about. So it's yet to be determined if. The adult use, quote, recreational, which was a big debate as to whether or not we should be calling this recreational, because
we should not be calling it recreational.
What's your argument about that?
It's adult use. All use is medical. People don't understand that yet, though, so it's hard to convince them. They don't understand that cannabis is medicine, and I understand that because I was one of those people for a really, really long time. Oh, sure, kind of helps with this or that, but it's not really medicine.
So you think equating it with alcohol, essentially, by calling it recreational, that's really what that does. Right?
Yeah.
because they want to make that equivocation as a comparison, which is nonsense. So adult use is the preferred politically correct nomenclature.
It's just
as these
more
laws go
accurate. It's not politically correct. It's accurate. Just like cannabis, it's accurate.
Yes, because we do continue to battle the question as to what to call
It's accurate.
plant.
We
Right.
can call it cannabis. It's been maligned for a
You
long,
can
long
call it
time.
cannabis.
It's been maligned, so we can't. If we want it to have a new reputation, we have to call it by a new name.
Maligned. That sounds like a cool strain name, maybe.
Maligned.
Maligned.
Cool strain names.
Well, listen, we have an Anne Frank harvest. That's pretty politically incorrect. But we got about just a quick update. We ended up see them
It's accurate.
little jars behind us, little jars behind me on the table.
The jars are getting smaller and
Literally
smaller.
right behind me.
Yep.
They are getting smaller and smaller, but we ended up getting about 3 ounces, I'd say, maybe a little under 3 ounces from our
And
cut
Frank
short-
harvest.
Our cut short harvest.
Yeah.
And it's smoking quite nicely, actually. Curing away. The blue Skittles is quite enjoyable.
Yeah.
We had some Skywalker that came through. We had some trying to remember the blueberry something that Mel Frank gave us. Some of that came through, but they were stunted. They were small and a little bit stunted. Some grow better at flowers than others. We battled with advice from our great viewers and commenters on our videos as we progressed to deal with some powdery mildew issues and other things with milk and peroxide and all kinds of things. So it was a very interesting first go, and thank you so much for your help, and we're enjoying, and we will start our next one probably after January once it gets a little less chilly, because boy, it's chilly out here in LA
It's
right
really
now.
cold out there.
I love how the weather just it's like a switch out here, and it changes.
Boom. And it's winter. And winter.
And we got rain. We got a bunch of rain the last couple of days. So we're in mudslide season. There's 2 seasons out here in California: fire season and mudslide season. Those are our 2 seasons. Yes, the Skywalker is not bad. We're almost out of it, actually. So we got some more. We're gonna go from seed next time. So it's an education. It's a revolution. It's a reefer revolution, guys. Subscribe, get notifications, hit that thumbs up. Let's get into some news, shall we?
Let us.
And the news we are talking about is a little newspaper, a little newsletter. Just one we put out once a week over the weekend before the show. DC420LA.com, a Cannabis Chronicle. You can sign up for it, or you can just go over there and read it throughout the week after Sunday. It comes out Sunday morning-ish, Saturday night. You can read along with the show, or you can, if you're watching later, you can go check out the articles. We'll usually put links down in the description, but you can go to DC420LA.com all week and check out the stories we talk about here during the first hour. Our big headline of story, of course, we do cover more than just cannabis. We do cover all kinds of health, plant medicine. And one of the stories, a lot of the stories, actually most of the stories this week coming out of Marijuana Moment. Now, yes, it's in his name, for crimini's sake, but it does flow, Marijuana Moment. And it is a great, amazing source for news. And if you are a patron to this show, we thank you so much. And you just know that some of that is going to help Marijuana Moment and his work and Kyle Yeager's work and all the new people. They are so on the beat. They have hired more reporters to expand on just Tom and Kyle, and they are just killing it in the cannabis news.
They are.
And it's hard not to find the top news and breaking news in the space not on Marijuana Moment first. There are some other competitors, but it is rare. They are just so on top of things. And other decriminalization and of other drugs as well. There was a complaint about it. It's called Marijuana Moment. Why do you cover mushrooms? Schedule 1, prohibition is the problem. They put those things on the list for a reason. It made people realize that everyone else they're all full of shit. And they didn't want that, so they put it all on Schedule 1, including cannabis, psilocybin, and other things that are really now being explored and decriminalized. Nearly 100 cities are considering decriminalizing psychedelics, map shows. This is Kyle Yeager doing amazing writing and reporting over on Marijuana Moment. Chela, the numbers are pretty impressive. 100 cities doing some form of decriminalization.
I know, right?
And this map, decriminalized nature is on their Facebook. I'm trying to find the link to the map. I thought there was a link right to the map.
I thought there was too.
It's a little harder to find than I thought. But we can talk about it. Then I'll put my glasses on and I'll be able to read it.
It helps.
Decriminalizing nature, restoring our roots. The garden continues to grow. Go Team Nature. Red pins introduced to City Council and agendized in process. Green pins hosting events, beginning engagement with City Council, may have interviews in media. Blue pins beginning to organize DN social media accounts, launch events, or participating in Visit Your Local Reps Day. Orange pins attending DN webinars and communication channels organizing community. Green pins, Jesus, you got a lot of pins. Have reached out to DN and received info packets. So all the way from, we're kind of interested in decriminalizing nature, to all the way through to we have cities have introduced either bills or however they do it to decriminalize psilocybin. We know Oakland has decriminalized all forms of psychedelics, I believe, that were on Schedule 1. And this is all supported. What's going on is all supported by what's going on with science, actually. The FDA is being more open to research in psilocybin than they have ever been to cannabis. Ever. I mean, there was a lot of psychedelic research that was going on before Prohibition, before the 70s. Lots of it, and really amazing research being done. But it was shut down, just like cannabis was shut down when psilocybin, LSD, ibogaine, everything, all of those things were put on to the Schedule 1 of drugs. Now we're seeing many of those surpass cannabis, other than synthetic cannabis. Unfortunately, the psilocybin the psilocin they're using in a lot of these trials, most of these trials and studies are synthetic psilocin. They're not growing mushrooms in their closet and doing tests, which would be nice, considering the entourage effect and all that. Because
full flower is always best.
Yeah, because there's other stuff going on. There's other things in there going on.
Eating good food is always better than taking vitamins.
Always. And the molecule, isolating the molecule, ends up with trouble. Always ends up with trouble.
Always trouble.
Capital T. And that's no T in CBD.
No.
I don't know what that means. But certainly this is good news, and that's pretty comprehensive. That's a pretty impressive map, actually.
Yeah, right.
And pretty impressive what's going on across the country. We knew it was happening in many cities. We knew Denver, Oakland, California. There was a movement. We know there was a movement to get it going nationally. The question has come up, of course, of decriminalizing drugs other than cannabis to candidates. Candidates are speaking out. Juan Castro spoke out on that this week. He seems to be on board.
Julian Castro?
Yeah,
that guy.
Fake shrooms. Yeah, I want the real thing. Me too. A lot of people do.
Ernest of Gaia notes that in Oregon, we defund police, and it does wonders for decriminalization. That's a great idea.
How does one get that done? Is my question.
Right? I know.
That's
we
fantastic.
need that. We need that.
And I hear yes. And as the guru of ganja, Ed Rosenthal, explained to us in our interview with him, that in Oregon, the mushrooms are, like cannabis used to be. It's like, hey, man, you want some mushrooms? Everybody's got them, and everybody's happily spreading the spores to people who would indulge. And that seems to be the case in many, many places. Ironically, California is one of the most prohibited states for psilocybin. I mean, as well as DEA. I mean, it's, I guess in that respect, psilocybin is still, when there has been prosecution, which is minimal, it's been pretty harsh. So I sort of my anecdotal knowledge. It's interesting.
You don't want the man on your ass.
After
That's what you
Denver
want to do.
decriminalized, the DEA had their largest psilocybin bust in years happen not long after the decriminalization effort in Denver, which is funny. But traditionally psilocybin mushrooms not a big not on cops' radar much, not on law enforcement's radar, just because it's like what are you going to do? Arrest a bunch of people doing the squat in a pasture? I guess now that there are literally in California. Decriminalized California holds workshops every month or whenever, sporadically throughout the year, to basically teach you how to grow the mushroom.
Wow.
In a popcorn bucket.
I'd like to grow some shiitake mushrooms.
Well, mushrooms are actually outside of psychedelic mushrooms, the psilocybin mushrooms, the mushrooms that are out there are freaking phenomenal. Lion's mane. And edible, all the edibles except portobello. I'm hearing portobello not so good. You don't want to eat, never want to eat raw portobello, and cooked portobello not so great anyway. But that's the amazing thing about mushrooms is they cover the whole spectrum. They can feed you, they can take you to unlock your spiritual potential, and then they can kill you. The whole gamut of the human experience can be found in some form of over 200 forms of mushrooms produce psilocybin, all of varying degrees of psychotrop, trip. You're gonna take a different trip on all of them, and I couldn't name the most common one right now if you asked me, if you told me. But it's the psychedelics are on the move. So is cannabis actually a gateway? Well, CBD certainly is a gateway to the cannabis plant, and it looks like maybe decriminalization, legalization. Certainly, I think it's more than that. I think what's going on is the scientists are at a loss in many of these diseases, these conditions. That the humans are being subjected to in the Western world with regards to mental capacity. We're living longer, we're being poisoned more, and our food sources are being deprived of nutrients.
Yes,
the soils are basically barren.
Yep.
We're growing food in, and they're replacing all that with vitamins and chemicals, and we're huge. We're a huge society. So we don't eat right. And so I think science is just at a loss because chemicals aren't doing it. Chemicals are just causing more problems. Amazing, really interesting debate going on with Dr. Mike over there on the Twitter at DC420LA. The debate about the opioid crisis, really the fentanyl, or maybe it's the fentanyl crisis. And the debate as to whether or not there really is this reaction to suicides, to overdoses of drugs overall, mostly heroin, and now this super fentanyl and other fentanyl, are people who need opioids truly for pain being deprived of those real needs due to an overreaction of this crisis in the effort to save people. It's like the vaping crisis, the bans going on in Massachusetts and in Michigan, and as indicated being discussed with the President of the United States, who apparently is against prohibition. Who knew? Who knew Donald Trump was not a fan of prohibition and the history of it, and that if you prohibit something from people and don't allow them to get it legally, they're going to bring it in illegally.
Yes.
Even people with dementia have moments of clarity. Joe Biden sucking on his wife's fingers this week was not one of them.
Oh, no.
But this seems to be one of Donald Trump's moments of clarity with regards to prohibition, and certainly the flavors and the vaping crisis. Now, what is his motivation? Truly, the historical problems with prohibition, or is he motivated by something else in the industry, perhaps? Because I didn't listen to that entire exchange. There's about an hour-long discussion from the vaping industry. There was a lot of talk about there, and you could take out the flavors conversation, replace flavor and with THC, with cannabis, and in this conversation, and you could be having the same conversation around that table with the President of the United States about cannabis prohibition and how it's not working. So there you go. Donald Trump is for ending the prohibition of, not starting a prohibition of vaping flavors. We just need to parlay that into ending prohibition of cannabis.
Yeah.
Because prohibition, as he knows, apparently, historically, has not been a good thing. The story also coming out of Marijuana Moment, Kyle Yeager. Trump says drug prohibition doesn't work during a vaping meeting. And you heard that at the top of the show. So click on over to Marijuana Moment over there. Just a side story this week coming out of Forbes. Of course, Forbes doing a lot of reporting, and Tom Angel writing over there as well as others. But Forbes doing a lot of cannabis reporting and psychedelics reporting as well. But this coming from Gregory Ferenstein, a glimpse of life after magic mushroom legalization. Interesting story about Amsterdam and what it's like there. You could you know, you can just go in and buy yourself a single-use plastic packaged dose of edible mushrooms.
In Amsterdam?
In Amsterdam.
Or is this post... oh, yeah. Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
Oh. What do they consider single use?
Well, I just added that commentary.
I see.
But they're in little plastic containers.
How convenient.
And tells you what you're going to get, what kind of a dose, what's going to happen. Read before use.
Read before use.
Psilocybe templanade.
Awesome.
Psilocybin truffles.
You know,
that you can get in Amsterdam.
I say the more the merrier.
What did Paul Stamets say? Somebody mentioned Paul Stamets in the chat.
Uh-huh.
The new Joe Rogan with Paul Stamets is quite fun. It's quite good, and lots of new information too. And he mentions that basically mushrooms make happy people.
Yeah.
Certainly emotional people. Certainly you get more in touch with your emotions. But it's nature's little antidepressant, really.
Yeah.
In small doses, and in high doses, it gives you an entirely different perspective on the bullshit of life. Which is why they put it on Schedule 1, folks.
Because then you wouldn't go to work for the man anymore.
Because they wouldn't fight their wars. They wouldn't. They'd like 9 to 5. What is this? And that's was it? Jimmy Dore just did an interview with a book. Now we're going to have to read or listen to maybe on this next trip.
Yes.
Up to Santa Rosa.
I'm excited about it.
About Civilized to Death, I think is the name of the book, and about basically hunter-gatherers were much happier and much healthier than we are now, and and we just basically created all of our own problems. But it's been around. It's been around ever since the very beginning. The mushrooms and the cannabis. So go back to look to nature, and look to the simpler things as to how to be happy in life, and that's why they don't want you that way. They just want you drunk enough on the weekends not to kill too many people. That's bad. So they got to set limits on that kind of thing. They don't want you killing too many people. So they send blood testing limits. And then, you may be hungover on Monday, but they want to make sure you can get back to work, get your ass back to work on Monday, but not think about anything that's going on under the radar. or over the radar, out in plain sight, which is really their problem with Donald Trump. Is he just, with no filter, everything is done out in plain sight. Yes, he's a heathen and a disgusting pig, animal rapist, wannabe mafia boss, but he has no filter, so it's very difficult to keep things inside, which is quite interesting. But back to the news, shall we?
Let us.
But we are going to talk about a little more politics of pot. Oh, and guess what? The USDA, or at least Chuck Schumer, Kyle Yeager again, the Kyle Yeager show. We should have him on. Kyle, I've talked to him on Twitter. We should invite him on and do a little update every week of all the news. What's the top news over there at Marijuana Moment? It's an interesting idea. But this story, top Senate Democrat Chuck Schumer calls for extended hemp regulations comment period. We've reported that here on the show. December 30th.
Have you done your homework?
Apparently there's been a lot of comments. Because
not mine yet. I haven't done my homework.
I have not done my homework.
I am here to admit to all of you, all 32 of you, that I have not done my homework.
It's great. It's good to be honest.
I'm a bad person.
My schedule clears up December 7th. So
and when's the deadline?
Up some things. End
of the month, right?
The original deadline is December 30th.
Okay, so end of the month. I got to the end of the month. I'm going to do it this week. I'm going to do it Monday. I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'm doing my homework. About how CBD is safe for food, right?
Well, no, this has to do with the USD and the growing rules. The hemp rules that they came out with.
Oh, okay. Well, then this is the one. This is the one where I say, where'd you get this dumb arbitrary 0.3 number?
Right. That's the one.
That's the one.
Yes, the big.
This is stupid.
There are a number of problems, as we've reported here, with the rules that the USDA has come up with, and not the least of which being the THC level of testing that they're going to require. Yes, it's true. According to the 2018 Farm Bill, hemp is anything under 0.3 THC. But there, of course, which is crazy in itself and completely arbitrary, made up number. It's you're gonna have to go a lot higher to get any of that those other effects, significantly higher, to get the side effects that everybody doesn't like with regards to the establishment doesn't like euphoria as in such. No one happy people. It's the last thing they want.
Or questioning people.
Right.
That is the last thing they want.
So they somehow came up. They pulled 0.3% out of the air, and now they're pulling something else out of the air, which is the requirement as to what THC they're looking at. Delta 9 is the established parameter with regards to THC levels in industrial hemp, and that's 0.3. However, the suggested rules that they're doing from the USDA is suggesting a total THC level, which includes THCA, as well as when that's going to be tested, after decarboxylation or before. Well, that might present a problem. That might present a problem and push you over the 0.3 limit. Now, that in itself is a bad thing. But it turns out, if you do go over the limit accidentally, you might just be a felon.
That's terrible. That's ridiculous.
So,
that's like the Stamp Act. It effectively makes it impossible to do because who wants to risk their whole everything for that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's insane.
It's kind
so hopefully the hemp farmers band together and talk to their peeps, their elected people, and their lobby organizations, because they got them. Oh, the farmers got them.
If anybody can do it, they can.
Yes, absolutely they can, and I support them. So I'm going to add that to my list of homeworks. I must support the hemp farmers in the in the quest for better regulations. These regulations are dumb. And if it tests hot, there needs to be something that they can do with their crop, not just throw it away. That's ridiculous.
So it's true. It is December 31st, not the 30th.
Thank you. Yes, well, that's the last day of the month. Yeah, MDN Niles, how big potatoes can grow.
Yeah.
That's a good analogy. Your potatoes can only be this big. If they're any bigger, then we got a problem.
And
make them all mashed.
And if it's
nobody can eat them.
And if there's too much leucine in your tomato, we're going to squash it all and put it in a Hunt's tomato can for refugees in Africa.
No, they're not even allowed to have it.
Doing that. We're going to squash all of your tomatoes into the compost.
Throw them away. That's right. That's right.
If you have too much leucine in your tomato.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that the terpene that's in tomatoes?
No,
is it? No, there's something in tomatoes because it starts with an L, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Lutein? No.
Something like that.
Chat, what's the
what's in tomatoes?
Is it leucine? I think
no, it's not leucine.
But that would be something like that. If you have too much THCA, which and the thing is, these rules completely kneecap the farmers that are already now. They have this, and they already can't sell all their hemp. There are 3 times as many hemp farmers getting into the game around the country. In every state that's doing it, and because the states were only a few states had hemp programs until 2018.
Lycopene.
Lycopene, that's it. Lycopene, thank you, not leucine. Lycopene, too much lycopene in your tomato.
Lycopene, yes, cannabis sativa.
Destroy it. That's it. Thank you,
ridiculous.
Mr. Sativa. We're just pundits. We don't actually do any research. Limited.
We got jobs.
Just enough information to be dangerous.
Yeah.
So lycopene. Thank you for clearing things up.
We know what we know.
So so the USDA
which is not much.
It's just like the taxes in California are kneecapping this nascent adult use industry with their tax act level taxation here about to increase again with the traditional OG market 3 times as big as their new regulated market. They're going to just raise the taxes again because why not? And you know what? And wholesalers are raising their prices again. Why not? Or rather, retailers are raising their prices again by 20%. 20% markup has gone up in California. And everybody complains about the taxation. Yes, but it was already your wholesale to retail markup was 65%, and now it's, or 60%, 60 or 65%, and now it's 85%. It went up 20%. And that's
insane.
And that's what they base the tax increase on in California, in Prop 64. So the retailers are raising their prices. You'll see in the afterburn the prices in Michigan look like they're crazy, like they're ridiculous, like they have Brando on too in the coming weeks. Talk about how things are going.
Yeah, that'd be nice to have him on.
Brando, the Weed Commando, Daily Dope, back in action over there, over on YouTube. Check him out.
Lots going on in Michigan.
Lots going on. He just did a fall update. It's like 4 hours long and 4 different videos. But he's welcome back, Brando, if you jump in. But definitely check out his information. And he's in Michigan, and so I'd love to talk to him about today's sales and the new. Because you're gonna see shortages for patients. They were supposed to curtail that, but probably not.
No.
Because adult use.
Let's curtail capitalism. It'll be great. What could possibly go wrong?
And there's just predictable things are going to happen to the medical patients and medical end of cannabis in Michigan. Now that this has happened, and it's great. You can grow 12 of your own plants in Michigan. It's one of the best, or at least the most, that the government will allow you to grow. You may grow 12 weeds. 12 weeds as long as no one can see it, smell it, or hear it. They can hear it growing.
It's a huge problem.
That's right.
Cannabis Sativa says Cali at its worst still beats a lot of other states. Cali is pretty bad. Sure, it beats states like South Dakota for now. But the fact is that California growers and like legacy growers are shut out of the market. And the market itself is untenable. It's just not sustainable. There's not enough product moving because of greed and capitalism. I mean, it's just not happening. So legalization could be what killed the California cannabis industry.
Well, there's only just, a couple of benchmarks. California does have an official medical cannabis card, a state-issued card, other than a doctor. It used to be you just had a doctor's recommendation. You get somebody, sometimes they'd make cards for you, but basically you just had your rec. You took your rec into a place. They put you on their list and said, okay, you're good. That was your collective, and that's how you got your weed, your medicine. And Prop 64 basically eliminated the nonprofit collective model, destroyed it, said, we'll do a study on nonprofit cannabis in California. It'll be due in a year. We'll give it another year. We don't know when it's going to come. But there's going to be no nonprofit cannabis, for profit only. Finally, we got a little bit of compassion back where donations. Gavin Newsom almost didn't sign it and let it go into a pocket veto and expire.
Yeah, man.
He did sign it at the last 11th hour to allow donations and save that 15% state tax.
We need people who understand cannabis to run for office at all levels.
Which is happening, and guess what? The candidates are coming out about it again, or starting to embrace the voters and their support for candidates that are okay and in fact use cannabis. Also on a marijuana moment, congressional candidate smokes marijuana and talks legalization in campaign video. And this is Anthony Clark running in Illinois, CJ. Running for, let's watch his video, shall we?
Yes.
Let's take a look. Let me see if... Now, there have been other candidates that have been open about their cannabis use. Very few and far between, or rather current use. Some are talking about more often about previous use, but as far as no, not you. As far as current use, trying to find this video. I did not put it in the right. Oh wait, maybe it's up here. Oh, I know where it is. It is here. Okay, there it is. Anthony Clark. I found it. Okay, let's take a listen to Anthony, and he is running as a Democrat in Illinois.
This is exciting, CJ Apo. You should meet this guy.
To unseat a current Democrat. He's a Justice Democrat. He ran previously. And this is his embracing of cannabis. Out. He's basically out. He's out. Let's see what he has to say.
Cannabis is a gateway drug. It opens you up to, and I couldn't disagree more. I do not believe cannabis is a gateway drug. Cannabis is a medicine. So if you're not aware, I'm running for Congress.
Oh my God.
I'm running for office. I'm a teacher. I run my own nonprofit. I know clearly, I think we're all old enough to remember, Bill Clinton, when he was asked about his cannabis use, and what did he say? I did not inhale. And for me, again, I'm not a special person. I'm just a normal, everyday individual that I think is just tired of status quo, tired of the oppression that exists, and I'm fighting back. But I think if we really want to make change, and if we have a platform, you just have to be courageous with your platform. You just have to be yourself. So I think I have to be just as open about my cannabis use, because lying to individuals, I think, plays a direct role in enabling status quo, in enabling, again, the oppressors, the top 1% to remain. We have to empower ourselves. We have to educate ourselves. So I don't hide this at all. I tell people on a daily basis, cannabis saved my life. It continues to save my life. I feel like we need more individuals that aren't riding the current wave that exists of, neoliberalism and, centrism, and we can't rock the boat. We have to No, this is war, you know, and I'm going to be on this side, or this, no, not the right side. I'm not right side. I use my right hand. I'm going to be on this side. This is part of that, you know. Legalization with a focus on racial justice is a direct part of building greater equality in our country. So just for me, I just think it's extremely important, to be honest, as a political candidate.
I think that's really good. So I feel like for a long time, politicians wouldn't even talk about cannabis or advocate for criminal justice reform in regards to cannabis because they would bring themselves into scrutiny about whether or not they used cannabis.
Right.
Like with your identity groups too, like I'm sure that that's opening so many doors for people to like be okay with using cannabis with themselves, and like that whole internal battle of like, you know, being scared of stigma validly on like an oppression level, and then just like interconnected relationships level too.
Right.
So like that's so good that you're doing that with your platform as well, because I mean, like humans create culture, so the fact that you're normalizing it is amazing.
Anthony Clark, Democrat for Congress, Illinois 7.
Love it.
Justice Dem running to unseat a Democrat.
Amazing.
Who got on board legalization late.
That's how you do
As
it.
they do. As a politician will do.
Well, like he was saying, he's leaning into what makes him unique. You know? Like AOC does. Like other people that we like. They lean into what makes them unique. Because right now it's time to be unique.
Indeed.
Education is totally the key. So we got to educate people and our neighbors and our friends and send nice notes to, who are we sending it to? USDA?
The USDA by December 31st right now, but we're looking to get an extension by then.
Yeah, but just do it. Just do it this week. I promise. I'm going to take pictures. I'm going to make it. I'm going to make an Instagram post tomorrow about how I sent my notes to the USDA. I'm also going to make calls, and I'm going to call 45. Again, I called them a couple weeks ago.
You did?
I did, and I called all the reps and the senators too. When the MORE Act passed, to support the MORE Act. But yeah, man, I'd say, let's just really quick before we get into the afterburn.
Well,
let's
just talk about a couple of stories, but you want to talk about the Washington story.
I totally want to talk about the Washington story. I love this story, guys. This story is great. I like local stories. This story out of Washington talks about how legal cannabis has reduced drunk driving crashes in neighboring Idaho, which I absolutely love. Because they always say, oh, the impact of cannabis. Well, the impact of cannabis is that there's fewer drunk driving crashes.
This coming out of the Stranger slog. I guess maybe this is their weed blog. Washington's legal weed is reducing drunk driving crashes in Idaho by Lester Black. A new study from Utah State University found that Idaho saw a significant decrease in alcohol-related car crashes after Washington started selling legal pot in 2014. And interestingly, that decrease in car crashes grew more substantial in areas closer to the Washington state border. And the legal pot was on the other side. Well, that tells me also
that the good people of Idaho are being forced to be criminals if they prefer to use cannabis to alcohol.
Well, one of the first person in line in Michigan was a couple from Ohio.
Oh, and they camped out.
Who camped out.
Crazy.
And didn't want to go on camera.
Those crazy
but
kids.
Was buying enough weed to definitely take home to Ohio.
Those crazy kids. Thinking that they aren't going to be cops on the border waiting for them to come over.
But I'm betting
silly kids.
That, because there was also one border town in Michigan that's selling right now. I'm betting that folks down there in Ohio are going to see a similar positive benefit, a similar harm reduction, if you will.
It is harm reduction.
You can argue that, listen, we don't know everything about marijuana. We don't have enough tests thanks to 70 years of prohibition. Sub
Our own damn fault.
No. But you certainly cannot say that it is not a harm reducer in every aspect of harmful life, with regard whether it's opioids, alcohol, violence, anything. You know, the reasons they put it on Schedule 1.
Yeah. They lied.
They lied. Yeah. The reason they lied to it. The reason they lied to us about it for 70 years.
They lied.
Yeah. Zots and lots. Welcome. Build a wall. Stop those evil kids.
Well, guys, we have come to the end of the first hour.
We have indeed. A quick rundown of some other headlines before we end up and go in to get into the afterburn, where we're going to hotbox the mainstream media and their coverage of marijuana from coast to coast and in your neck of the woods. Couple of other things that just sort of popped out. It looks like cannabis may end up being a place where union organization may find a home.
I do love that.
UFCW is making big moves in Northeast.
I would prefer worker co-ops, but that's not going to happen. So given the structure and what's available to workers, I'd say the UFCW is their best bet.
Well, the UFCW is making moves, has already organized many shops on the West Coast. Basically it's the law in California. If you have over a certain number of employees in a cannabis business, you have to be unionized. So not everybody's following that law, but the UFCW is doing its best out here to make that happen. And it looks like they are making moves to do it in the many northeastern states that are organizing, or rather that are getting ready to legalize cannabis there. And several are already on board. So that's good news. It's good. Live Better Work Union, folks. Got to say it. Can't say it enough. They are, union memberships are actually coming back. It's making a surgence again. Several strikes have been successful. How long it's been since an auto working strike has been successful. They didn't get everything they wanted. Some would say they got just, what they would have gotten if they didn't go on strike, but it changed other things too. So, unions are on a comeback, and that's what we need. We need, and what the minimum wage of $15 an hour will just push union wages up too. And so will Medicare for all, by the way, despite the argument against it. Couple other stories. The DEA wants more weed, guys. Amazingly enough, the DEA wants to grow 3.2 million grams of marijuana from crappy weed from that same crappy Mississippi farm that they cannot seem to approve any other growers. Well, maybe they'll get off their frickin' pot, get off the pot, and authorize some more growers to actually grow some weed, despite the fact that the head of the Mississippi...
we should send them notes.
The head of the Mississippi farm says, I don't know why people would need anything other than what we grow to study. I'm trying to find the exact quote here, but it's like, what do they need other weed for? That's ridiculous. It's just fine. Where is that quote?
But yes, let's also send the DEA a nice note to let other growers grow.
And you might as well send a note to the FDA, because the FDA is at it again too. They love to send out those letters. They sent out some letters earlier this year, but they've been ramping it up, and now with the CBD craze and the Farm Bill kicking the CBD over to them, essentially they are the cops on the block. With regards to CBD now. So they've never, ever actually taken any action on any of these letters they've ever sent out to shut down websites, to challenge. You can read all of the letters through this Hemp Industry Daily link off of the Chronicle. But you can see the letters, the reason they put it out. It comes down to medical claims that basically people are selling drugs that is under control of the FDA. All of the usual suspects in the letters are there with regards to what's going on people's websites, making the medical claims, pet stuff. And essentially, it looks like they sent a letter to one of the top CBD companies of like every big region or state that's into CBD, that has a CBD business, because it's across the board. They've hit almost every state, from California to Florida, North Carolina, Kentucky. They've hit companies in all the different states with these new warning letters. They've also put out information, parroting the it's CBD is bad for your liver story, which has been debunked with regards to that study that was done with rats in massive quantities with rats. But they're pushing the story again. So they're afraid. FDA is afraid that people are going to use it. And everybody's using it. As our friend from Tennessee said, everybody's got a little bottle of CBD in their pocket.
A year ago. And
So,
without CBD, my mom would have had a very difficult passing. It would have been traumatic.
And
more traumatic.
And
than
so many stories that are coming up in the afterburner. At least every week in the afterburn, we see stories when they talk about, and you're seeing more and more now. The stories are saying that, they started with hemp oil, CBD hemp oil, and they saw a great result. And then they moved on to, some other form if it was medicinally available. But a lot of them are now starting with, there is full spectrum hemp oil out there. There is low THC legal hemp oil being sold out there that is full spectrum and that has active, good active CBD, not just isolate. And people are getting their hands on it. And so the FDA is sending out the letters, cracking down, and people are just doing it. They're using it. They're their own doctors, their own experimenters. And cannabis never killed anybody, at least when you're sparking it up. Shall we move into the afterburn? Let's. All right, everybody, subscribe, get notifications. This is Reefer Revolution Live. We are multi-streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, Twitch, DLive, and Weed TV, the Cannabis Media Network. Make sure you hit that thumbs up before we shut down our first hour. We will be back for the afterburn, where we hotbox the mainstream media in the MST 420 theater. And we will be right back in about 2 minutes. But this is just helpful. So hit that thumbs up, subscribe, like, make a comment. Don't get nervous if we don't come back. Just refresh. And we'll see you right after this for the afterburn.
We'll come back.
We promise.
We'll come back.
We love you guys. Free the plant, free the people. See you in 2 minutes.